Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Coffee and
Coco. Welcome to another episode. Surprisingly, we somehow made it to 20-something episodes already.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's been 20-something weeks.
Remember when we thought this would be a little thing that no one wanted, and then it ended up becoming a normal thing for us.
That's crazy.
That's amazing. Jesus works in weird ways. But, hello. I hope you guys are all well. Obviously, we're not live right now, but please let us know in the comments, how you're doing.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you guys. Like, how's everything?
We're not live because our schedules are so conflicting. Like, literally, we text each other, like, yo, you got time? Like, tomorrow evening? I don't know, man. How about next day at 3 o'clock? I don't know. I can't do that time. So, like, honestly, like, the reason that we started pre-recording it is because our lives just got a little more hectic. Like we were talking about last week with the change of schedules and the needing to adapt to new things. So we were like, we still kind of want to do this. We still want to have conversations about faith, conversations about life with our community, but we got to find a time that works. And so we're pre-recording. Exactly.
And one of the cool things about pre-recording is that we'll be able to do be able to plan stuff out a little more. We'll be able to I don't want to say put more effort into it because, we do put effort.
We put a lot of effort.
We're casual about it, but, we put in effort. But we'll be able to bring in, people to talk about different topics or, intentionally plan out topics. So, if there is something you guys want to talk about, whatever the topic is,
yes.
Racism, spirituality, how to pray, the rosary, Mary, the Bible, whatever else, let us know. Comment on the video.
Black Lives Matter. But if you make us do a Black Lives Matter video, I'll just say Black Lives Matter throughout the entire podcast.
Exactly. And we'll explain why we believe that and everything. And don't worry, we're not here to shut down conversation. We're not trying to mute anyone. So any topics on the table. People are surprised when they walk up to me and they, say something like,
I didn't know you were Hispanic.
Okay. Definitely not that. But they say something like, oh, I didn't know Catholics, care about babies after they're born. Because so many people, unfortunately, think that being pro-life just means the baby is born, and then that's it.
Yeah.
You leave it there. Or you guys actually...
All these misconceptions.
Misconceptions like Catholics hate sex. No, let's tell you why the church loves sex and thinks it's a beautiful gift, but for couples that are married. So we could talk about stuff like that. Nothing is off the table or too controversial. We're willing to talk about it. And you always get to hear it from the church's point of view, but also me and Jos's opinions that always line up with the church anyway, which is pretty cool.
And when they don't, because I know that I have personal views and I'm like, I don't understand this. Can someone please explain?
Yeah, she's actually a heretic, little do you guys know. We burned those at the stake.
I'm trying to get to heaven.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get to heaven.
You're the less I say, the more likely
I am
to get to heaven.
No, but when I do have, literally questions, last night I emailed you an article. Well, you sent it to me, and then I sent you another article.
Right, yeah.
About the priest that had an invalid baptism.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. That's in the news recently. Long story short, I sent Joss a story about, basically what happened was a priest, well, he thought he was a priest, but a man who got ordained and everything, so he thought, looked back and watched a video of his baptism, and he realized that they didn't do the correct formula, which you could argue it's too legalistic, but there's a reason why we do the things the way we do.
Yeah.
And he found out that they did it the wrong way, so he's like, oh my gosh. So the first thing he did, he was a good guy, he contacted his bishop, all the right people, and they said, yep, everything is invalid.
So let me explain what Brandon means by the formula. So the reason that formula for sacraments are so important is because, the priest during the consecration, he is not speaking, as
Father
Camillo, or he's not speaking, in place, no, he is in persona Christi, in person of Christ. And so the words that he says needs to be the words of consecration. Yeah. And so the priest that baptized this gentleman that thought he was I think it was a deacon, actually.
It was a deacon that baptized him.
It was a deacon that baptized him. He said, we baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And the reason that that's invalid is because it's not the community that is baptizing this person. It is the person. It is in persona Christi. It is it is Christ himself accepting him into this community. It is the Holy Spirit coming like into this person's life. So I baptize you. It is not a population of people. The community is accepting you and welcoming you in.
And that person individually is
baptizing you. Yeah, because you don't need to be a priest or a deacon to baptize, actually.
Yeah, in an emergency scenario, actually, I'll share the story.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine, they just gave birth to the baby. They knew the baby wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
And so the dad took a bottle of water, and he said the correct formula,
Mm-hmm.
I baptize you in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And then the baby passed away shortly, unfortunately, but he knew that he could administer. That's the beautiful thing about faith. We want to save as many people as we can.
Yeah.
So in an emergency, you could baptize someone. But let's say the baby did survive. There are scenarios where the baby or a person survived. And so all you have to do is go to the church. They formalize it. They write the paperwork and all that. It's just so we keep record. We're not being legalistic when we do all this stuff. We're not just trying to be like pricks by keeping everything in detail. There's a reason why there's a formula. We're doing stuff that's important. So basically, this priest had to be baptized again.
Yeah. He
had to be confirmed. He received his first communion. He got ordained a deacon, then ordained a priest.
I know, 2 days later.
Like, it was insane. I read a comment by someone who's actually a parishioner of his, and he said he commented, he followed everything. It was like, it was weird. Someone you knew your whole life, like, dedicating his life to the Lord, wasn't even, like, a member of the family of God. So it shows how, like, God is not bound by the sacraments.
Absolutely.
But we're bound by the sacraments, but God isn't. Like, he can work in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome. But yeah, but what we were saying, like, when you have opinions and stuff like that, like, that's the cool thing about being Catholic, being Christian, like, we can ask questions.
Yeah, it's okay to ask questions.
So if you have any questions, if you have any comments or stuff you want us to talk about, we're more than happy to talk about it, no matter how controversial it is.
The more controversial, the better.
The better. You could ask us, like, the hottest topics, and we'll talk about it.
Or we'll bring Father Camilo in here and Father Juan to talk about it.
Yeah.
There'll be coffee and cocoa.
There'll be coffee and cocoa. That could be a spin-off episode where we're like, we don't want to...
This was way too controversial. I don't know how to answer this.
This is too controversial. We're going to put the priest on there. So, yeah, we'll do that. I think Father Juan started doing his Bible study on Fridays.
Okay.
He originally asked me for, like, a name, and I was like, why can't it be, like, Pizza with Padre? But he's like, I don't want to eat pizza every Friday.
I know. I'm pretty sure he still does eat pizza every Friday.
He does, actually. But we don't even drink coffee and cocoa.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. You say it as you have, like, a can of, like, seltzer water.
Well, most of the time when we were recording this, it was late at night, and I'm not kidding, Brandon. The first few weeks, I was like, I can't sleep, man. And I was like, I don't know why. And then he was like, Jos, I think you literally drink coffee at 8:30 at night when we're recording this. And I'm like, that's irrelevant. So,
and here I am drinking hot cocoa, falling asleep towards the end.
So I'm trying to, like, if we record early in the day, then I definitely drink my coffee. But if it's later, like,
yeah, you could tell if the episode was recorded earlier or later in the day by if you could see, like, little steam coming out of the cup or anything. But yeah, so basically what we're saying, if you want us to talk about anything, if you have any questions or topics for us, let us know. Me and Joss will be planning, like, the next month of topics ahead of time. So it'd be really good to hear from you guys what you want to hear. We'll even put up a form or something. Yeah. Or a little picture, and people can comment what they want. So we'll see. Look out for that. I don't guarantee it, but it might come out.
So yeah, we wanted to talk today about the baptism of the priest that was recently rebaptized once he realized he wasn't even a valid priest. Catholic, nevertheless, or Christian. And we also wanted to talk briefly about what trip has impacted your faith journey, or like what, like, pilgrimage or like experience has impacted your faith journey and helped mold it.
Yeah, so when Josh sent me, like, some ideas for tonight, and when I saw that really stood out to me, because I've had multiple experiences, but I'll only point out two that have really impacted me as a human person, like, fully, but also as a Catholic. One was in high school. I told Joss this before, and she was surprised about it. But part of our high school requirement was, if you wanted to even move on into school, if you wanted to receive a diploma to graduate, you had to hike 55 miles of the Appalachian Trail in 5 days.
That's crazy.
So a bunch of high schoolers, I was already a Boy Scout, so I was used to hiking, but they send you out with city kids, we're all 13, 14 barely, And, they think that hiking just means walking. They don't know it means you have to climb, you have to deal with rain, you have to cook on your own and all that. We were carrying all of our food, all of our stuff. Like, we had to hike 55 miles. They told us the first day would be the easiest. To lie, we hiked 15 miles or so that first day. It was terrible.
Wow.
My feet were bleeding.
And why was that beneficial? Or, like, how did it impact your religious journey, your religious journey, your trajectory with your relationship with God?
Yeah, I didn't know it at the time. I was annoyed. I knew it was going to mean something later on in life, but I didn't know it at the time. But it wasn't until I started encountering difficulties or challenges in my life. And I remember teasing my friends about this because our headmaster at the time, who was a monk, said when you face challenges later in life, you'll look back at this experience, realize you did it, and that you could do anything in life. We're all inner city kids, we're all minorities, most of us, and we were just struggling, most of us struggle in life. But when you realize you did, like, a really hard task, it helps you do it. So, like, I was facing these challenges and all that, and I said, if I could survive sleeping on the wilderness, knowing that there's a bear around the corner, like, I'm pretty sure I could do all this.
Yeah.
So it really helped me because I realized, like, no matter what difficulty comes, if I have friends, if I have Christ, if I, have my will oriented towards the good, then I can get through it.
That's awesome.
So what about you, Joss?
I did not hike 55 miles in the wilderness with bears around.
Yeah.
I do love the wilderness, but I did not do 55 miles on my own.
So what did you do?
I think that I don't know. I have a couple of adventures that I try to make all of my hikes, especially, like, they're very special to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the trial to get to the top at the peak is, like, the magnificent beauty of God.
It's a summit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, wow, it captivates me every time. But one of the most impactful, I think, experiences for me would be World Youth Day 2016,
I think so. Poland.
Yeah, Poland World Youth Day. I think I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it, Brandon.
Let it rain.
Oh my gosh, it was so difficult, people. When they tell you it's going to be amazing, you're going to meet so many people, and you're going to have so much fun. It's going to be the best experience of your life, yeah. Yeah. People. I think if you have a teenage child and you want to send them to boot camp, just send them to World Youth Day. It's the same thing. No.
I remember, before you even get into the story, I remember the day you got back into the office after World Youth Day, and I heard your footsteps, and I got all excited. I was like, oh my gosh, how was it? And you looked at me with, like, this face, and you were like, I will kill you. And you just kept walking. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess you didn't meet Jesus.
Yeah, right. Well, one of the most, I was going through a breakup when I went there. And so I had a lot of healing. I know that, like, God worked amazingly in my heart during those 2 weeks in Poland, 2.5 or something. Throughout that week or that time there, the year before, I had met my current best friend, Priscilla. Shout out to Priscilla and brother Kyle, who's a brother of the community of DeSalle. He actually just made his first vows. So I met, like, very special people in my life. And I'm not saying that, like, World Youth Day sucks, it should be obliterated. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But I know for me personally, like you were saying, Brandon, like, you go through these difficult experiences and you're like, I'm pretty sure I can go through anything now.
Yeah.
So there's one night in World Youth Day, and it's kind of like the night that I guess I refer to when I think of it, because it was, like, so, like, traumatizing for me, where you camp out. And so it was like 2.5 million people, youth, young adults, whatever, teens, camping out from all over the world, right, in this field in Poland. And so we're camping out, and we had to walk in the sweltering July heat with, and I'm, like, really short, people. I'm 5 feet tall, 5 flat. And so whatever, we're walking. There's a lot of people. Everyone is really tall. And I have, like, this heavy backpack for overnight. And it's sweltering hot. And Side note, all of the water in Poland made me gag. Because it was all mineralized and, mineralized and sparkling. And it's funny because now I like sparkling, but back then I was like, oh, I can't even drink water and I'm so thirsty. Irrelevant, whatever. So finally, we walk about 4 or 5 hours to get to the campsite. We find our campsite. Fine. We have no food because the pilgrim bag has our food. So we go to the site for the pilgrim bag. And at this point, it's like, I don't know, late afternoon. So I go to the table, me and Priscilla. I think Kyle came. Probably not. It's just me and Pri. She's in the military. Just want to add. She's in the military. And we go get the backpacks, and they're like, sorry, ma'am, there's no more backpacks left, but I can give you an apple and some water. Okay? So whatever. There's no more backpacks at that time. So we came back to the team. It's like 20 of us. We're like, yo, guys, there's no more backpacks. They're going to be back later on this evening. We'll handle it. We're going to go get backpacks. Because we got to make sure our team is good, right? Like, I'm not the leader, but I want to make sure that everyone's fine, right? Whatever. So we go back later on that evening. I think it's like 10:30. It's pitch dark. I don't know where I am. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. So we go get the backpacks, people. The backpack has an apple, some, Chef Boyardee, the one that you, lit and put in the microwave.
Yeah.
Raviolis, I remember. And it's just, I think, a bottle of water or two. We carried, Priscilla and I, about 20 of them between her and I. We carried one for everybody. This was, literally, people, you know when you carry those string backpacks that you're like, damn, that hurts. Okay?
Let's carry 20.
We walked back, and it gets to the point of the campsite where we're walking back, and when you go into the section that you're in with your group, it's pretty much sleeping bags everywhere. There is no grass space to walk. You will be walking on someone's sleeping mat. There is, in this sectional, there's 500 people. There is no room for you to walk, Joss. You have to walk on top of people and on top of their things. You gotta do what you gotta do. I feel really bad stepping on people. I don't even like shoes in my house. Brandon, don't get bored. I don't even like shoes in my house, right? So I take off my chancletas so that I can walk, so I'm not stepping on people's stuff. And then, precisely as I was about to step on my sleeping bag in my group, I stepped on a tree that was chopped off, and I cut the bottom of my foot. Yeah. And then the next morning, we're like, oh my God, we're so hungry. I'm like, I brought y'all backpacks. And I tell my team leader, I was like, yo, but this is really cold, Chef Boyardee, ravioli. And he's like, Jocelyn, it's hot enough that if you put it in the sun, you can eat it because it'll be warm. I'll conclude with that. That was one of the most impactful trips for me.
That sounds worse than my story because I saw a snake. I had a guy who hid food in the tents at night, which is why we had bears. We had someone just do stupid stuff like run naked in a field full of ticks.
What?
Yeah. But that doesn't sound as bad as what you experienced.
I just think that both of those experiences and many others that we have had really create just kind of that fearlessness in us, and that are you kidding me? That's a piece of cake. What's 10 miles?
But our experiences and where we've been and what we've done and with who we've done it with, all form us. Our experiences. Your experience would have been worse if you didn't have Priscilla or Kyle.
Oh my gosh.
My experiences wouldn't have been worse if I didn't have my friends or my teammates.
Yeah.
They all form us. Even good experiences. Another one that I had in mind was my trip to Rome, where I went with my best friend, a couple other friends. We went to this pilgrimage in Rome. We traveled all around Italy, to Norcia, to Monte Cassino, to the Vatican, and all these places. And they were all good experiences, but it explains about something to me that, you need to go outside of your element.
Yeah, it's important to go outside of your comfort zone.
To just, meet all these things. There's a reason why, history is so cool. like because something happened in Rome, something happened in the Holy Land, something happened at Fatima.
Yeah.
You know, that separates all these places. You know, in Poland too. Like, you know, imagine being able to say that you went to Poland and you saw all these sites and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, even if you don't go out across the world, like going outside of your own house, you know, going to local pilgrimage sites like the Divine Mercy Shrine in Massachusetts or the Padre Pio Shrine, or, you know, even to the beach or to the mountains. Like, all these places could be places we encounter God and have great stories to share and tell other people.
So comment down below. Comment what experiences have led you closer to Christ. What experience have shaped you? What experience have helped you to find those amazing friends like we have found, to find those amazing relationships, or have even led to healing? Because I know that God has healed me in so many ways through that one trip. So yeah, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll be back next week.
All right, sounds good. Catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.